The new channel. The new channel. Hashtag TNC Now.
The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following shows are those of the host, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Well, hello and welcome to the new channel. Born out of passion, we are a community that helps you be the new you. My name is Mras, PhD, streaming live from the beautiful mountains of Colorado, USA. You're watching Mental Shift Season 5, Episode 59. Good evening to the United States and to the Philippines. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Tonight, you're going to love her. You're going to love her. Anyways, my guest began her travel career planning vacations for her family and eventually began booking business trips for friends and hosting escorted tours around the world. She's a certified tour director and travel agent specializing in custom trips, group tours, and family vacations. Over the years, she's traveled to many destinations and loves sharing her knowledge and experiences with her clientele via her website and her video blog on Facebook. She's an artist, an author, a speaker, and CEO of My Travel Forever travel agency specializing in custom trips, adventure travel, and small ship cruising. Please welcome my longtime friend on social media and my new in-person friend, Phoenix Sagen.
Hi, Michelle. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here tonight.
I'm so glad you stumbled across me at the airport at 5 in the morning. We have to show this picture because I think it's funny. That is the first time we met each other. We've been friends on Facebook for many years now, like at least 5 years. And I walked into the airport going to my gate at 5 in the morning, and this really smiley lady said, "Hi, Michelle."
It was pretty awesome. And we both were like, oh my gosh, and realized that we'd been friends for so many years on social media, but this was the first time that we were meeting in person.
It's crazy. So I had to share that because you never know who you're going to meet. So always keep your eyes open when you're traveling, because we met at the gate. We happened to be on the exact same airplane. So we sat together and we talked for hours to our next destination. Keep your eyes out because you never know who you're going to meet. And as you can tell, Phoenix has a very distinct smile in her eyes. You cannot forget them. So when I looked over, I'm like, I know you. Why do I know you? And it was because we've been social media friends for quite a while. Thank you for sharing that picture.
Yes, absolutely.
So Phoenix, you are a travel maven, basically. When I saw you at the airport, you were on your way to somewhere spectacular. You had just come back from somewhere spectacular. And what I want you to share almost immediately is, what brought you into traveling around the world? I mean, most people have trouble just leaving their state or their one particular country. You said, it's COVID. I'm going to go across the world. What brought you to this, and how long have you been doing your whole travel thing?
Well, thank you very much. I would love to share my story. So it really had everything to do with my mom. It's all her fault. We were a military family, so I've moved 29 times and lived in a number of different places around the world, or spent a lot of time in places around the world. So as a kid growing up, my mom loved to travel, but we didn't have a lot of money. So what she did is she set up a separate savings account she called the travel account, and every 2 to 3 years we went somewhere. But when we went to those places, we did all of the things because we saved for it.
Yeah.
So when I was 8, she said, "We're going on a cruise to Mexico. You get to pick an activity at one of the ports. What do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, I want to parasail." So she says, "Well, it's your job to save $200 because it's $50 per person and there's 4 of us over the next 2 years." So picking up dog poop, ironing uniforms, helping the military families that were single parent households at the time. It was super empowering to know at 10 years old that I had paid for my family to do that activity. And so it kind of started then. And then I got certified as a tour director at 17 and did a tour to Australia, New Zealand for 29. It was 29 days, 21 people, Australia, New Zealand, and 11 of them were my family members. So it was pretty crazy. And I've been doing various things in travel ever since. Now, I didn't always get paid to travel because you used to have to pay a travel agent a commission on top of the travel. And I was like, why would I charge my friends and family for something I do for free? And because I didn't know back then, right? Just kind of up and coming and all of that. So I've done corporate travel, a certified tour director. I've worked for travel agencies. I've done a lot of different things in the travel world, and all of it because I just wanted to see the world. Anytime anyone asked me, "Phoenix, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to do?" And I'm like, I want to walk the Great Wall. I want to canoe down the Nile River. I want to, see all the world has to offer. And I need to figure out how I'm going to do that. So I went on a mission to figure that out. And I decided to do it my own way. So in 2016, I started my own travel agency. Again, I'm a certified tour director, and I've been in the industry paving my own path and doing it my own way ever since. And it was the best thing I've ever done for myself, is to believe in myself and take a step forward into making my dreams a reality.
And loving every moment of it. And I always say, someone's successful when they're not taking a vacation from their life. I said it early on a podcast. I think it was today, actually. They said, "What do you do when you're off?" I said, "What do you do? How do you do? What do you celebrate?" I said, "Every day I do my job, I'm celebrating. So when I'm off, when I'm celebrating for myself, I go off grid." I
Mhm.
said, "But everything I do is a celebration." And in your case, people, "So where are you going to go on vacation?" "I vacation every time I work."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's ideal.
Yes. I travel for different reasons. Some to explore. I think it's very important to have firsthand knowledge of a place before I start sending people there. Because
Okay.
what you read in books and see on social media, it's very different than the actual experience. Sometimes I'm taking groups and people with me and inviting people to come along on an adventure with me. So there's a lot of different reasons why I'm out there traveling and vacation, my own vacation with my husband, or, you know, sometimes it's a conference or something like that. So there's lots of reasons why I'm out there doing things. But I think most people ask me what's my favorite place that I've ever been, or where I like to go the best or the most. And the true answer to that is I don't have a favorite, because every country, every place has something special about it. So it really depends on the season, the reason, and my mood as to where I like to go and why.
Well, we have a couple of pictures that you shared with us that we want to share, and then you can say where you were and what was the coolest thing about that one spot. How about that? Because I love your pictures. Are you ready for this? It's almost
Absolutely.
like name this tune. Okay, put up a picture and let's have Phoenix talk about it. Okay, where are you?
So this is Kenya, just outside of Nairobi. This is an elephant orphanage. And so elephants are my spirit animal. I'm a baby elephant. That's my spirit animal. I'm curious, and then we remember everything, and we're family oriented and all that. So this is a place where they rescue the little babies. And I actually adopted Bodeni from this particular orphanage in Kenya while I was there, and I was super excited to be able to be there in person and have that experience with all the little ones.
Aw, how cute. You're going to go back there, aren't you?
Yes, taking a group back next June 2023, back to Kenya and Tanzania, and we're going to go here. Mhm.
Okay. I've got my eye on that date. What's the next picture? Ooh.
Okay, so this is Easter Island off of the coast of Chile, and this is the Rapa Nui, so the big stone heads that are there. Um, and it was an interesting experience because this getting to Easter Island can be very difficult. You have to go through the Santiago airport. And the Santiago airport, like there's a certain little place, a certain room you have to go through to get to the security specific to Easter Island. So when I went, I was at the airport 6 hours early and I still missed my flight because maneuvering around, this wasn't updated, the kiosks weren't updated, like all the things. It was kind of weird. But when I got out there, oh my goodness gracious, it was so worth it. I got to tour the island with a number of different historians and archaeologists who study the history of the island and the big heads that we know that come from Easter Island, the Rapa Nui, all that, and it was really really an amazing experience for someone like myself who is a history lover to be able to go out with historians and have them talk about the love of their island and all the history of it from their point of view. It was amazing.
Oh, I can only imagine. I've always wanted to go to that island. You know that, right? I love your life. I love that you've been seeing things like that because I see these on TV and do, oh, I wonder what that's like. I wonder if you can feel the energy coming off of these rocks. I mean, just the ominousness of them.
It's pretty incredible, and to see how they are created and the rock quarry that the majority of the big heads came from, and they've left a lot of them in various stages of development from the very beginning to partially done. There's a lot of broken ones. So you kind of see a progression of how they were all created out of one big block of stone and how they actually did that and brought them to fruition and literally brought them to life. It's pretty incredible.
No, I bet. I mean, I can't imagine. But one day I'll make it out there.
Awesome.
So, what's the next picture? Ah,
This is where I was headed when we met. I was on my way to Egypt. And I spent a week diving the Red Sea with an incredible group of divers. It was a phenomenal experience. And then I spent 2 weeks with a friend of mine exploring Egypt. Now, Egypt has a very special place in my heart. My name, Phoenix, is a combination of Egyptian and Greek mythology. There's one phoenix bird alive at a time. It's the royal fed of the pharaoh, and anything. And the tears of a phoenix bird can heal anything from a broken heart to a broken bone.
yes.
This is before Harry Potter, right? So so I've wanted to go to Egypt my whole life, basically. And for a long time, it wasn't safe, and there's different things. Life happened, but I was finally able to go and make it. And it was an incredible experience to see all of the places that I have wanted to see in person. So I don't have a TV, and one of the things that I do in my spare time is I read about ancient history and archaeology magazines. So seeing all the places live, Luxor, Karnak, Abu Simbel, the Sphinx, the pyramids, and it was just absolutely incredible to be able to be there in person and experience that. So this picture is me showing my love for all things Egypt.
I love that picture. Now, curious, can you come right up next to the pyramid or do they block it off just to keep it protected?
No, you can get right up there, and you can actually go inside the Great Pyramid as well. So
Really?
I was able to walk along the pyramid's edge and touch the pyramid and climb up a number of the steps. It was really moving. I mean, I teared up. It was 115 degrees in the shade, and I had tears rolling down my eyes that would just dry before they even reached the bottom of my face.
It's so incredible to be where history, the cradle of civilization. That is amazing to me. Okay. Be still my heart. Okay, next. Where are we now?
So this is the Masai Mara in Kenya, and these are the local tribe there, and they came and did the local dance. This was what's called a sundowner. So we were out in the reserve, on the reserve, and we had a fire pit and canapes, and they came and did a dance and took pictures with us, and it was really wonderful to meet the locals and be able to experience some of their traditions as the sun was going down and looking over the it's basically a part of the Serengeti, the northern part of the Serengeti.
That is very cool. They have a night ceremony.
They do. They do. Now, I did a hot air balloon ride over the Mara as well, and I did a hot air balloon ride over the Valley of the Kings in Luxor also. It's kind of become a thing for me when I travel to do that. To be able to see the wildlife, elephants and giraffes from above, as well as being able to see them from the ground as you're driving through the reserves, to be able to be present with these incredible creatures and in the wild, and then to be able to see them from above as well was pretty spectacular.
Fantastic. Do we have one more picture? We do.
So Ecuador. So this was when I was on my way out to the Galapagos. Um, and I was in Ecuador, and Ecuador has the 000 latitude. So I don't know if you know about it, or if our listeners and watchers know about it, but on this particular line, if you straddle this particular line, like one foot on one side and the other foot on the other side, it's the one place where everything moves. It drops straight down. So water moves. And if you're on the southern hemisphere, water swirls one way. And if you're on the northern hemisphere, the water swirls the other way. So literally, toilets when you flush will swirl one way and vice versa in the other hemisphere. It's also typhoon and hurricane directions are kind of the same thing. But right on the line, it just drops straight down. It's a really interesting phenomenon. And they do a really great demonstration on what that's like. When you go to the 000 latitude.
That's cool. Now, I did not know that. I knew about the other two, but I never knew what would happen on the actual line. That's
Mhm.
cool. There's an actual line. Okay, do we have another picture? Oh, yes.
So this is Abu Dhabi, and this is one of the mosques in Abu Dhabi. So I had to wear a nabaya. So this is in the UAE, so the United Emirates. Abu Dhabi is one of the Emirates. A lot of people know Abu Dhabi, but they also know Dubai. So I spent some time at the beginning of this year in both places. And so this was my opportunity to go and explore this incredible place made of white marble and gems. So if you see the floral design on the ground there, that's all gemstones, handmade. Every single piece is handmade. The beautiful columns and the artwork is just incredible. It's beautiful and moving. The way that the wind blows and the air flows through there is just like it's perfectly aligned. It's a really incredible place to be, and to be able to experience being present there, um, and to see the outside and the inside as well, where there's the prayer area. This is actually the open courtyard where they have the prayer when you're outside. They also have an inside area as well with beautiful chandeliers, and it's just an incredible place to experience.
It looks surreal. It looks like something out of a movie. It's so white, honestly. It looks like you have a picture and you're standing in front of it.
It is really pretty. I really loved
It
it.
is. It doesn't look real. The same thing happened at the Taj Mahal. It didn't look real. Even it standing in front of it, looking at it, it didn't look real. And I'm looking at that picture doing, the only reason I know it's real is I know you went. But looking at it, it's like it's so white and crisp against that blue sky. It looks like it's been painted there. I did not know that the ground was jewels, gems.
And all of the beautiful you can kind of see it in the back behind my head where there's like or on the right side, each one of there's like a brown line.
Yes.
So that's from there. That's hard to see to zoom in, but there's all kinds of flowers that are built up around that and spiral around, and all that, and the floor there. It's all gemstones. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's a very, very wealthy country. And so you see it in their architecture and everything they do. It's very cool. Thank you for sharing that one. That's my next actually that's one of my next destinations is Dubai.
Well, October of next year, I'm going back and taking people with me. You can join me on an adventure.
If I haven't been there yet, yes, I will definitely join you. Yes. Okay, I think that's the last picture. Do we have one more? How could I forget that one?
Machu Picchu. So Peru. So a little bit of story about this. I spent 3 months traveling South America on my own studying Spanish. I started in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and worked my way to Chile, Santiago, and then up to Peru and stayed in Cusco. I stayed with host families and went to school learning Spanish. And in the middle of that 3 months, I had a group that came to Peru, and then we hiked the Layers Trek. Now there's another more known is the Inca Trail, where you do 3 nights camping, and then you actually hike to what's called the Sun Gate, which was a part of Machu Picchu. So the Layers Trek and the Inca Trail start in the same place, and the Inca Trail kind of goes like a snake up to the Sun Gate and then drops down into Machu Picchu. The Layers Trek goes the opposite direction, and it's one high up and one high down, up to 16,890 feet or something crazy like that, almost 17,000 feet. So you go up and then down, and then you take the train around to Machu Picchu. So we ended up doing the higher one, up one high, one down. We were the only group of people in the middle of the Andes Mountains, other than a handful of locals that were out there. And we had porters and people who knew the mountains, so we weren't by ourselves necessarily, but our group were the only people out there. And to be in nature and to have that experience was so incredibly moving. It was amazing. And then to see, we did this on New Year's. So we were the morning of New Year's on the 1st of 2019, we got to watch the sun rise over Machu Picchu. And it was pretty awesome.
That's pretty incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Do we have another picture?
I don't know. Maybe. This is Dubai. You can see the very tall spire in the background. That is the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world. And I am standing in what's called the Frame, the Great Frame. It's in Dubai, so you can look it up. It's pretty amazing. So you can go up either side. So it looks like it's built like a big, huge frame. And they have a lot of the history of Dubai as you walk across the top, and it's got a glass floor. Now you can also go on either side. So if you're scared of heights, you don't have to walk on the glass floor, but incredible views overlooking the city. Absolutely beautiful. It was awesome. Dubai really surprised me. And one of the things that I realize every time that I travel is what we think a place is, more often than not, it's not. Often it exceeds our expectations. But actually being somewhere and seeing something, no matter how much you try to prep and you read all the books and all the things, nothing compares to the experience of being in a place and experiencing it and seeing it for yourself.
Amen to that. Okay. I'm a big exponential person. I want to go experience things. I don't like talking about it. I'm like you. Growing up, I was always reading history books. I knew everybody, every date, when things were moved, when they thought they were moved. I mean, I love history. And so to see you travel through all these things, these are one of these bucket list things. I said, one day I'll do it. And then I've traveled around the world. I mean, my husband and I are military brats, and then we were military too. So we've been traveling around the world. But there were certain places I've never been able to go because he's military.
Mhm.
Egypt was one of them. But, things, matter of fact, he just says, yes, my husband just wrote, I think everyone needs to travel, see the world firsthand.
Mhm.
It's the best way to learn. And do we have one more picture before I get distracted? Nope, that's it.
Well, I have tons more, but those are the only ones I sent in, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is this way, those who are watching, those who are sharing this live stream, those who are watching the replay, you can go to Phoenix's website. Can we put the website up there? Should be right there. My travel, the number 4, ever.com. And then you can go see the places she's going, places she's been, and you can design your own trip. Talk to her and say, hey, I want a group of my college friends. We all want to get together. Or in my case, my friends are all around the world. We all want to meet somewhere. Can you help us do that? And Phoenix and I are conspiring on something for next year, a few things for next year. And I wanted her on the show because, one, I want you to meet her. And two, we'll invite you on the trip too. So just because you're not in Colorado or somewhere I've been lately doesn't mean you can't meet us in some really cool country, right?
Absolutely. Join us on an adventure. Absolutely.
Yes, I'm definitely going to go see elephants in June. Now, I want to, before we go any further, I mean, we've talked about your travels, but what I want to get into, and I'll do it after commercial, that I want to get into, oh gosh, what was I going to say? Something to the effect of what is your biggest thing when you hear from people saying things like, I've always wanted to travel, but I'm afraid because what if they kidnap us? Or I always wanted, but what about the water? What if I get sick? We're going to address those kind of things, the fears that people have about travel, because here you are traveling the world. And my husband and I, we've traveled the world. You've met my publisher, Ken, my photographer. He's traveled the world. We've traveled the world. And when you meet us, there's something about people who travel the world where we see things differently. We see chaos, less chaos. We see problems, not as problems. And it's about that learning from culture to culture and accepting different cultures and understanding them, not from your point of view as whatever country you're from, but being in their world and exploring the world from their eyes. And I think it's made me a much better human, just being a military brat who traveled, but being a military spouse who traveled and seeing it from an adult point of view has enlightened me even more. And so I always encourage people, if you've never left your town, I encourage you to leave your town. And then I want you to find a travel agent who can get you from state to state. You must travel because that's how you expand. So when I met Phoenix on that airplane and she explained, oh, I focus on outside of the United States. I went, ding, 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 because most of the time I meet people who only work within the United States. My whole concept of travel and learning other cultures is to leave the United States, leave your country. So whatever country you're in, leave it to see how other people live. And Phoenix is who I connected with because she does it often. And I want to help people take that veil of inadequacies off of their faces and see the world as it truly is, not as the media tells us, not as we expected it because we met one person that was bad in a bus one day and they're from that country, so they're forever. No, go see the world. So when we come back from commercial, we're going to dig down on some of the fears that you may have. You can write them in the chat and we'll answer them. And Phoenix will walk us through How would we plan something like this if we wanted to get people together and go on a big trip? Or how do we join her on some of her trips when she announces them on her page? So we'll be right back after this commercial, okay? So don't leave, and definitely share the live stream.
Juan Lu and his puppets face to face. With special guests, Makata Tawanan, Jess Box, and the Lunaria Marionette Show.
Alam mo, Nicolò, kung wala ako, hindi ka magsasalita. Alam mo, Tito Anlo, kung wala ako, nagsasalita ka nag-isa. Kung wala ako, wala kang masusuot. Kung wala ako, wala kang nakakain.
October 30, Sunday, 7 p.m. at the La Verdad Auditorium in Apalit, Pampanga. Buy your tickets now and see you soon, face to face.
Thank you for joining us. My name is Michelle Mras, and you're watching Mental Shift. Now, did you know that TNC is a live stream platform of online shows for people on the go? Please watch all our shows that are seen here on the screen. Now imagine having your own show. your own playlist, your own content, but we'll make it easier for you. TNC aims to transform the lives of our viewers through engaging, authentic, and original content. Our vision is to become a global 24/7 live stream channel that showcases Filipino talent, global influencers, and cultural intelligence and ingenuity. Continue to keep watching Mental Shift, like you're doing right now, every Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time in the United States, or Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. Philippine time. You can also rewatch any of the replays via Facebook or YouTube. Be sure to follow us on Instagram. Listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Just search hashtag TNC Now. For sponsorships, please email now@thenewchannel.com or just send us a direct message. Now, enjoy these life-changing shows because we made them for you. Now, welcome back. My name is Michelle Mras, and you are watching Mental Shift, and my guest tonight is Phoenix Sagen. Phoenix.
Hello, hello.
Wow, there we are. I was say we were really big there for 2 seconds. Well, I wanted to get into more of what do you hear the hesitations of people wanting to travel outside of the United States? I mean, I know they had fear of it before, and now we've got the whole COVID thing, monkeypox thing, and so people are afraid to move and afraid to live. What kind of advice do you have for the? Well, what have you heard?
Well, you're touching on one of the biggest things that is what I feel my mission to help people overcome is I want people to be prepared to travel, not scared to travel. And part of how I get that mission across and that vision across is by doing exactly what I'm talking about. I'm out there and I'm traveling. I'm a woman. I travel solo. I mean, I travel a lot, and my husband can't come with me all the time. He comes with me sometimes, but not all the time. So I'm out there on my own. And I can't tell you how many messages I get from women, like personal messages and DMs and emails, like, oh my gosh, are you there by yourself? And I'm like, yes, I am, because I'm prepared. And there's a lot of different ways to be prepared, from, you know, dealing with currency, how to be smart about where you have your money and having money belts and what to do and what not to do and how to be prepared for that. Safety in general, knowing where the embassy is for the places that you're traveling to, what's kind of currently going on in that climate there. What are the current COVID policies and procedures and all those types of things. And then other things like etiquette. There are some things you shouldn't do in certain places that you can do in other places, hand gestures and certain words. And um, a number of things are common courtesies that I think that we forget, like trying to speak another language, learning some of the words in any country that you're going to, so that it shows that you're trying. I mean, one of the things that I do when I'm traveling is I make fun of myself a lot. So, especially if I don't know the language, I will say something like, you know, um, in their language, like, disculpe, no habla mucho español. And even though, like, actually, I speak more Spanish than that, but, and I'm like, perdón, and I'm trying, right? Just placing my hand here and saying salam alaikum, walking around Egypt as a greeting, walking into a store or walking into a restaurant, got me the respect of the locals so fast. And it's little things like that that you can learn in preparation for any trip, how to pack. And one of the things that I say often is, especially for US travelers, is don't be the bad American. And some of the stigmas that come with that are, lack of education and what it's like to travel. I think there's some statistic in the 50 or 60 percentile that people in the United States don't live or go more than 50 miles from wherever they're born. Like, it's an incredibly crazy statistic. And I mean, like attracts like. So the majority of the people that I know are all out there traveling and doing some incredible things. But it's super high how many people here in the US don't travel, or they only stay within the US. Now, there's still a lot to learn in our own country. It's different culture if you're up in New York and New Jersey than if you went to Louisiana, than if you went to Texas, and then if you went up to Oregon and then to California. Like, just in our own country, there's different English dialects and different foods and views and vistas and things to do. It's no different everywhere else. There's a lot out there to see and do. And you need to get out there and see it to really expand on who you are. I've found a piece of myself in in every place I've ever been, in every road that I've walked along, in every country that I've visited. I've learned something about myself as well as about the culture and the people. And some of the things that really have stuck out for me in terms of who I am as a person come from the ability to have tolerance, compassion, and forgiveness and understanding of other people, places, and cultures that I didn't have before. When you see a lot of the stuff that's going on in the news, like right now, Pakistan is flooding, what's really going on over there, and to be able to have compassion for something like that versus just being like, oh, well, we have floods here too, or, there's just a lot of different things like that. Especially during COVID, it was really hard. All the countries that shut down. I mean, there's hundreds of millions of people here in the US. In a country like New Zealand, there's 5 million people. That's like one of our states. It's
Yeah.
a little bit different. So, and when you're in a place like Europe, and you can zip around from country to country, you get this integration and this cross-cultural pollination of different places. And I'll tell you one of my favorite experiences of being in Europe that gave me that, oh my gosh, this is so Europe. I was in Switzerland and I went to a restaurant all by myself. And I walked in and I sat at the bar. And the bar was it was set up as a square and it had all the seating was like around and it was kind of an open bar. So I'm sitting at the bar and I'm looking at the menu and the bartender greets me in German. And I look at him and then he said something in Spanish. And then I said hello in English. And then he goes, oh, English. So he talked to me in English. Next to me, there was a couple speaking Italian. On the other side of me, there was a couple speaking French. There was a group of Germans that having a conversation over here. There was a group of students that were talking in another language over here. Like throughout the restaurant, there was so many representations of worldly people all around. And as I was sitting there watching this group of students, they first were speaking French. And there was like a few of them. And then a friend came and joined them. And then they all switched to German. And then a couple other people came. And then all of a sudden, the table of students kept growing and growing. And they switched languages. So now they were all speaking English. And it all had to do with who was joining the group so that they could be inclusive. Because if the other person didn't speak another language, those that spoke multiple language could shift around to make everybody feel included. I mean, that was just like, oh my gosh, what an amazing cultural experience to be able to witness that and be there and know that that's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I loved Europe because of that. My husband flew with NATO. And so when we would go down the street, you would hear, Norwegian and this and the French, then Italian and all the different languages. But when we came together, they would all teach us one or two words of how to eat. Basically, we learned how to eat in every language. And then we would switch between English and whatever their language was. It was amazing. It was amazing. And so that's why I want people to meet you, because more people need to travel and outside of their own country. And if they go to you, great. If they find someone else in their country that can get them somewhere else, great. But explore beyond the 50 miles or the 30 kilometers from your house, because that's how we grow. And that's how we learn acceptance, and that not everyone's the same. But we all want the same thing. We all want to be happy and have joy and love life and take care of our families. And we all do it differently. And so that's why travel's so beautiful. And I can't wait to hear more about your travels. So where's your next trip?
So next trip is Germany, a Viking River cruise down the Elbe to see the Christmas markets. So we have I have a little group going. Some of my family's going to go. My mom and my grandmother, and my husband and I are going to go do a little cruise down the Elbe River and stop and see the original home of the Christmas markets. And so we're pretty excited about it. It's going to be a great experience. The mulled wine and the spices and the gingerbread and all the handcrafts. I'm bringing a whole separate suitcase, just so you know, completely empty for all the goodies.
Yes, and you should. We lived in Europe, so we know all about the Christmas markets. Matter of fact, I think I ran one for the American Women of Geilenkirchen is what I did. Yeah. But the markets, what she's talking about, the Christmas markets out there, it is like you walk into a fantasy world because you have all these old buildings and have lights and you can smell the mulled wine and the gingerbread and the apples and there's just such an atmosphere, and guaranteed it is going to be snowing and it is going to be very, very cold, but it's so magical to be there. I'm so excited for you.
I'm pretty excited. And then I have some incredible adventures coming up for next year. So, one of the things that I make sure that I do is have my year planned out well in advance so that people have the opportunity to come along on adventures with me. So, I have some things coming up for next year that I'm pretty excited about. And there's still a few things that haven't been released yet that are coming as well. So, that should be fun. We talked about Africa in June. There's going to be Iceland, Dubai, and Croatia next year, and potentially Turkey, Morocco, and maybe Jordan might be on the docket as well. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Add Spain.
Well, yes, and then we have some things to talk about. So there's a difference. So I help individuals, couples, families, and groups travel, and then I have adventures that I invite people to come along with me on. And then there are trips that I set up for companies or people, coaches, and businesses like you, or like a yoga studio that wants to do a destination yoga trip to Costa Rica or something along those lines. So those are all things that are kind of trickled in there as well. So there's a lot going on, and travel's definitely coming back.
Oh,
And
yeah.
like Michelle mentioned, if you work with a travel agent, because it's great to have somebody that has the experience and get out there and be able to see something. And a great way to get started if you haven't really traveled much is to join an already existing group and come along with a small group of people to experience it.
Yeah, that way you're not alone.
Yeah.
That's how I think I traveled most of Europe, as a small group of us would get together and we'd all go together. And that way we weren't alone. And in that way we figured out what we were doing, and it was like, oh, well, this isn't scary after all. Let's go to the next place. And then we would just keep going. Yeah, I love traveling. Oh, I love traveling. Okay. Just a heads up, I've already talked to Phoenix that I want to do a coaching excursion into Spain. And I want to do it on my 55th birthday. So October, keep that in your mind.
Yay. More details to come.
Yeah, as we figure them out. But yes, now, Phoenix, now we've talked about your travels and the things you've done and you've seen and the magic of travel. And then we've talked about, how you go out into the world by yourself just to show people that you are prepared and how to prepare for the travel and where you're going and things of that nature. If someone wanted to build a trip or join your trip, do they just go to your website? Is there somewhere special on your website?
There is. So on my website, there's a couple different ways that you can find information. There's the adventures page that has the current groups and things that I'm doing if you want to join me on an adventure. And then there's also a tab for if you have an adventure or if you have an inquiry or you're thinking about a trip that you want to do, you can fill out that form and it comes to me. You can fill out the contact form if you just want to say, hey, it's not a group, I just want to go with my girlfriend or just my family, or you have questions that way. So you can do the contact form that way. You can also follow me on Facebook. So facebook.com/Phoenix Sagen. It's Sagen. Where you'll see a lot of my trips. I talk about things. all the travel that I'm doing, where you can personal message or DM me there. And then I also have a Facebook group called Travelers Anonymous. It's the Travelers Anonymous community for all my travel addicted friends. And I put out all kinds of tips, tricks, hacks to travel, safety, customs, etiquette, all the things we kind of talked about, how to prepare, how to pack, what to bring, what to do, information. I'm a little bit of a history nerd, like I mentioned. So I share about different places like Angkor Wat and the Terracotta Warriors and Egypt and different places that I've been and things that I've done and a little history about those places. So, sometimes we can't think past the few things that we know, and often I get feedback saying like, "Oh my gosh, that wasn't even on my list until you talked about it or showed a picture of it, or I didn't even know that place or thing existed." So maybe you can get a little bit of inspiration if you join the group and learn something fun about travel as well.
Facebook group Travel Anonymous.
Travelers Anonymous, the Travelers Anonymous community. And it says by Phoenix Sagan. If you go to my personal Facebook page, click on the cover photo, and there's a direct link right there, and you can join the group.
Okay, her name is right there on the screen. So Phoenix Sagan, look her up, and then you can find where she's going and join the group and go explore the world a bit. It's definitely opening up. Go, 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 go.
All the ways, Michelle, there's so many people that reach out and they're like, well, I wouldn't do it the way that you do it. Well, I'm not saying you have to travel the way that I do. There's a time and a place for all kinds of travel, from traveling on a shoestring in hostels to renting villas or castles or staying in hotels or on floating hotels, like doing a Nile River cruise or on cruise ships. Like there's so many different types of travel. There's cooking and foodie tours, there's historical tours, there's fun booze, like booze cruises, and there's a little bit of everything for everyone. So don't be shy, ask some questions, and we can take all the things and kind of funnel it down into what your perfect vision of your next trip and adventure should look like.
I love it. I have a request for me to sing, but I cannot think of a song except I think it's two. Well, I've got one song in my head. Okay, I've got to sing because it's something I do. Do you know that? You
I
don't
know.
know that,
You
Phoenix.
have an incredible voice. Sing for us.
Well, I'm trying to think of the song I want to. Okay, I don't know if it'll translate on this microphone, but you can reach me by trailway. You can reach me. Oh, that's it. You can reach me by trailway. You can reach me on a big balloon. You can reach me with your mind. Oh, well, there are hills and mountains between us. Right. Anyways, I can't sing it because it's too slow and it's too melodic. And this is not a singing mic, it is a podcast mic. But I so enjoy your passion for life and that your adventurous spirit. And I cannot wait to work with you more as we move into the years now that we've actually met and realized that we're in the same time. I don't know why I didn't know you were in Colorado Springs, but stay tuned. More will be coming between the two of us because we will do things together, especially since part of my mission in life is, to get people out of their comfort zones and to move them into who they truly are. And I really think finding who you truly are is by pulling you outside of your normal environment and seeing how you really work.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, you're a lot braver than you think you are.
Absolutely. Well, most people are. And I think fear just holds people back. So just unknown. Well, make the unknown known and get out there and experience the world.
Yes, because that's what fear is. If fear isn't fear, it's fearing what you think is going to happen, not what is actually going to happen. So go out there and explore the world. I mean, Phoenix and I are great proof. We've been around the world and back again. We're still here. We're still smiling, and we still want to travel more. Oh, my husband said earlier, he said, collect memories, not things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And experiences. So my husband and I, and a lot of my family, we gift each other experiences because I don't remember as a kid what I got for Christmas or a birthday, but I remember every trip we took. And it's those memories that last.
Okay, so Phoenix,
Yes.
we have about 5.5 minutes left.
Okay.
What bits of wisdom would you like to share with the mental shift community?
Well, so a couple of things.
Okay.
It's all about planning. And the earlier that you plan, the better. It used to be that you can get some really great last minute deals, and that's every once in a while you can, but for the most part, that's no longer true. So the earlier you plan out, the better. But it also enables you to be able to make payments and save up for trips. So, and I don't know about you, but the older I get, the faster time goes. So a year and a half out is the perfect time to start planning a trip because it gives you a lot of time, but it's actually a short amount of time. And if you just made a goal to go somewhere once a year, somewhere once a year, so it could be within the US if you're in the US, it could be close to home, it could be far from home, but get outside of your own home as well. So planning is a huge thing. Pack your suitcase, take half the clothes and twice the amount of money that you think you're going to need. um, so those are some of the big ones. And I know this is a really funny one, but I have this thing about luggage. My luggage seems to get lost all the time. So, well, just recently anyway. So Apple AirTags, or you can do the Android tiles to keep in your luggage, is a great way to track your bag. And then when you get luggage, get the spinner wheels for sure, because that's the easiest to be able to maneuver around. And don't be scared of the off the beaten path places. Get lost. Don't plan out every second of every moment. You need just as much downtime to get lost and to experience a place than you do to have things planned. But you want to make sure that you also have things planned, like reservations and tickets to be able to get into the things that you want to see, especially now, because since COVID, they only allow so many people in to certain things, like tickets to the Louvre or going up the Eiffel Tower, or all the things you need tickets in advance or an entry time. So for some of the major things, you're going to want to have those things planned out, and you're going to want to have an equal amount of downtime. Don't do too many things. So, for example, I have sometimes people that reach out to me and say, okay, so we want to go to Italy, we want to go to Venice, we want to go to Florence, we want to go to Rome, we want to go to the Amalfi Coast, we want to stop at the Cinque Terre area, and we want to see Sicily, and we have 2 weeks. And I'm like, no, that's not going to happen. Like, you really want to space it out, because you don't want to just blow through someplace.
You'll never see it.
You want to experience. And that experience looks different to different people. Some people experience someplace through their taste buds. They eat their way through a place. Oktoberfest and the beers and the brats, and then and the pretzels, and they're trying all the things. And so some people do it that way. Some people experience through going on adventures, the hiking, the biking, the catamaran rides, the whatever. Some people experience things via history, going to the museums. Like, there's something for everyone. So when I talk to people about how they want to see the place that they're going to, I have them explain it to me through all of their senses. What do you see when you close your eyes and you envision this trip? What do you feel? What are you seeing? What are you smelling? And explain it to me. And when they do that and they really kind of get present in the moment, and that takes all the millions of things that I could recommend that they do and truly funnels it down for them for that particular trip in that particular moment. So think about when you travel through all of your senses and kind of what you're looking for. And don't be scared to explore and get outside your comfort zone in what you think. So if you've always been on a cruise, and cruises are great, maybe you should do a land trip. And vice versa, if you've always done a land trip, maybe you do a small ship cruising or a bigger ship or a private yacht. When I was in the Red Sea in Egypt doing the dive trip, I was on a private yacht. That was an incredible experience. Small, 34 people, plus the crew. So really intimate and great, lots of space to spread out. So that was a really nice experience. Some people don't like the bigger cruise ships. Some people love the bigger cruise ships because it's like a floating city and there's so much to do and
But
see.
you don't know until you experience it. You have to try them all.
Yes, you got to try all the things to get out there and kind of figure out what you like and don't like. And then invite people to come along with you, like family, friends, do a girls trip, do a guys trip, and go beyond Vegas. I mean, Vegas is great, have a moment, but don't always go to the same places either. I have a friend and I love her dearly. And she goes on the 29th week of every year to the same resort for the last 20 years. And that's some people's jam. And I'm like, don't you want to see like anything else out there in the world?
Nope, it's fine.
Yep. She's like, nope. I'm like, okay, at least you're getting out there. Super cool. But you don't have to do it that way either. So spread your wings and fly. And don't be scared to go like far. So I know it's a little bit hard sometimes with people in the US because we have a week or 2 weeks, often if you work for a corporate or a company, a vacation a year. So if you have a week, you're maybe not going a place that takes 36 hours to get to.
Yes.
So you stay close to home. So, Canada, Hawaii, the Caribbean, Costa Rica, maybe Iceland, like you're kind of staying like this. Every once in a while, put those 2 weeks together and go somewhere far. Yes, it's a little bit of a plane ride. You can opt for more comfortable seats when it comes to a plane. If you want to save up for that, just plan a little bit further because those seats cost a little bit more. But it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Well, so those of you who are listening and you're watching the replay, I want you to go to Phoenix's website. Where is it? We've got it. There it is. mytravel4ever.com. And also find her on Facebook with her name and then do the whole Travelers Anonymous page. But go explore, go watch her blogs, listen, and learn more about the world because the world is not as big as we think it is. And COVID showed it to us that we are all very connected and we're all experiencing a lot of the same things. So we might as well come closer together and go explore together. So Phoenix Sagen, Miss Travel Connoisseur, Crazy Woman, Wonderfulness. Thank you so much for joining us on Mental Shift and sharing your wisdom and knowledge. And that I hope more of my people will come out and find you on, travelforever.com, right? mytravelforever.com, and go explore the world with you. Now, my name is Michelle Mras, and this is Mental Shift. You've just met Phoenix Sagen. Go connect with her. And we'll see you next week, Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time or Wednesday morning at 9:30 a.m. in the Philippines. So next time, be well, be the best version of you, and be unapologetic.